guys, Ryan Sprague here, and I want to tell you all about an exciting event that I'm going to be speaking at in Hexham, England on August 9th. It's called Cosmic Frequencies. Cosmic Frequencies is going to be an unforgettable evening of mind-expanding science, live cosmic funk music, and of course, UFOs. The event is bringing together leading voices from the frontiers of space exploration, UFO research, and science communication. Curated by the SKX Funkanauts Band in collaboration with Coulthart Observatory, this immersive event features powerful live music interwoven with talks from astrophysicist and SETI researcher Dr. Beatriz Villarroel, representative of the Coulthart Observatory Dan Pye, Emmy-nominated filmmaker and former executive producer for the BBC, Steve Crabtree, and yours truly, talking all about the human side of UFO experiences, with stunning celestial visuals and a special panel discussion and Q&A. This evening celebrates the intersection of art, science, and curiosity, and a journey through space, sound, and the unknown. There will also be a special VIP meet and greet after the talks. Cosmic Frequencies is being held at the Forum Cinema in Hexham, England. Join us on August 9th. For more information and to purchase your tickets, visit cosmicfrequencies.org. Once again, that's cosmicfrequencies.org. And let's get funky!
While our government's official position is not to speculate on this subject, we can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
I did it again, Suzanne. Hello. I'll take you out. Oh, that's twice. 2 weeks, somewhat 2 weeks in a row that I've surprised her like that. Hello. Hello to Suzanne, our wonderful moderator, and hello to all of you. Welcome to Somewhere in the live stream. She's all dialed up and ready. She's going to be coming on the show later tonight, guys, to join us and talk about some of these crazy stories that have been going on in the space world and the UFO world as well. Sorry we're a little late. Your boy's trying something new tonight. We are trying to stream live over on Instagram, on the Somewhere in the Skies Instagram, and I believe it's working. I went over there and checked it. See, I'm getting the thumbs up. Cool. It's working. So yeah, now you can watch us live on Instagram. So cool. So hello to all of our Twitch watchers, YouTube watchers, Twitter watchers, Facebook watchers, and Instagram watchers as well. Welcome to this semi-weekly thing that we do here at Somewhere in the Skies podcast, where we bring you the latest UFO and space news as much as we can. Now, I was not able to do a live stream last week. I was in California for a funeral, unfortunately, but I'm back. I'm back home in Scotland and ready to break this down with you guys. We got some really interesting stories for you related to space. And speaking of space, Cosmic Frequencies, as you saw that ad at the top of the show here, guys, is August 9th. So gosh, almost a week away now here in the UK. I'm going to be speaking at this live event with Beatriz Villarroel, who you're going to be hearing a lot about tonight because she has made some stunning discoveries in the world of astronomy and astrophysics. I said astronomy wrong. That sounded like the study of the ass. It is not astronomy. It's astronomy. We have fun here. We have fun. She has made some stunning stunning claims, theories, and she's put out a couple preprint papers that are now going to be peer reviewed. But the information in them, if true and if proven, could change everything we know about basically space and what has been orbiting our planet for a very, very long time. But that's not it. We've got stories about the Tic Tac updates on the Tic Tac, Lockheed Martin. We've got Space Force going on a secret mission. What else we got here? We got whistleblowers telling other whistleblowers not to testify before Congress. What is happening so much? And I hope you guys will join me tonight. Suzanne will be joining us later in the show as well. Super stickers and super chat are open if you would like to help out the show tonight. That is a wonderful one-time way of doing so. You will be helping to support our free virtual conference that takes place right here on YouTube and on Twitch, and that is Anomicon. Anomicon brings together voices in all facets of the anomalous, whether it's UFOs, ghosts, paranormal, supernatural, cryptozoological, psychic abilities, ESP, you name it. We talk about it at Anomicon, and that's going to be coming to you September 20th and possibly September 21st, right here for free on the Ryan Sprague Somewhere in the Skies YouTube channel. If you would like to learn more about Anomicon and our incredible speakers, you can head on over to anomicon.com, scrolling right there on the screen for you. Thank you so much, Suzanne. And you can learn more about our speakers and what they will be talking about. Again, the event is completely free for you guys to watch and consume, but it's not free to create. So every last penny you donate tonight in the super chat and super stickers will be going to help fund that as well. If you don't want to do the super chat or super stickers, we also have Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal available as well. You'll see QR codes up on the screen for those. You can just scan your phone, scan that QR code, donate that way as well. We have a goal of 5 super chats or super stickers tonight. Help us reach that goal by the end of the show, and we will be greatly appreciative of that. What else we got? Hello to all our regulars out there. Anyone new watching, welcome. We have a really good time here. We have an awesome chat. Great community here. And I see a bunch of them in there already. So welcome, guys. Oh, we already have a super chat as well. I want to give a special thanks to Kurt W75 for the $10 super chat for Anomicon. Thank you. As I hit my microphone. Thank you so much, Kurt. Truly do appreciate that, my friend. What's everyone drinking tonight? What are you drinking? I am going a little different. For those of you who may watch the show every week, I have been trying to get more healthy in my life. You know, I'm a man who likes his bourbon. I'm a man who likes his beer, his carbs, his pizza, his chicken. But it has taken a toll on my 40-year-old body, and it is catching up to me. So I'm happy to report I'm down 8 pounds since I last weighed myself. So yeah, I'm on my way there. Exercising a lot more, you know, paying attention to what I eat, and just being more healthy. Getting up in the morning. I just joined a gym. The only reason I joined it is because it's 2 blocks from my apartment. So that was a big help with that. But yeah, got to be Earn Brew if you're in Scotland. I like that. Earn Brew, I'm sorry. Can't get behind it. Hoochawson. I just can't, man. It is, I don't know what they put in that stuff, but it tastes straight up like rust. If you were to scrape the rust off of metal and just put that in a glass, mix it and drink it. Oof, not a fan. But I respect it because it is a Scotland original. But what I'm drinking tonight, I got myself a little matcha iced latte for you guys. So there we go. Boost up the antioxidants, the energy, and everything in between. That's what I'm going for tonight. But yeah, like I said, what are you guys drinking? Irish whiskey, someone said. Scottish breakfast tea, lemon water, bourbon, water. Love it, guys. Love it. Oh, I got to show you a little something I got. So when I was in California recently, I went to a flea market and I scored this lovely number, a VHS of the pilot episode of The X-Files. So cool. It's also got the second episode, Deep Throat, which is a lot of people's favorite. It is definitely in my top 5 favorite episodes of all time, Deep Throat, not to be mistaken for the adult video with the same name. But this is the X-Files second episode, but also the pilot. And I just have so many memories of owning this as a child, owning every VHS. They would literally come out with like 2 episodes on every one of these. And when I saw this there, I was like, I got to get it. Do I own a VCR? No. Am I going to watch the VHS? Probably never again. But I have it. It's there. And who knows? Once all this cloud stuff goes away, streaming, digital goes away, and we're left with the hard copies, I'm going to get myself a VCR and I'm going to watch the pilot episode of the X-Files. So, yeah, pretty cool grab there. I don't have it with me right now, but I also got this really cool WWE crew t-shirt. It literally, it's got like the WWF symbol with crew on it, and it's from WrestleMania back in 2015. I rocked that thing in California, and I cannot tell you how many people came up and said, "Do you work for the WWE?" Even the flight attendants on my flights back to Scotland were like, "Oh my god, he works for WWE." Like I felt obviously like a poser, but also it was pretty darn cool. So maybe I'll have to wear that for one of our episodes coming up in the future. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge WWE fan. SummerSlam is happening right now. It was last night. It's also tonight. Happening in New Jersey, 2-night event. Big show. A lot of surprises happened last night, and I cover all of it over on my wrestling podcast, which you can subscribe to right here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And it's aptly called Somewhere in the Ring. We also have a movie review podcast as well, hosted by my awesome filmmaker friends, and that is called Somewhere on the Screen. You can find all of those right here on YouTube. I think on our homepage here on YouTube, you can go down to the Somewhere podcast universe and find both of the channels for Ring and Screen right down there, or you can find them wherever you get your podcasts. Please take just a few moments to subscribe to all of our shows in the Somewhere podcast universe. I also have some very exciting news about the Somewhere in the Skies podcast that I'm going to tease with you guys at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that and the future of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast. Things are about to change dramatically. That's enough. That's enough preamble. My God, this is where in the YouTube comments people say, "Wow, this guy talked forever about nothing." Skip to minute 16 to start the UFO news. I know, guys. I know. I criticize other channels for doing this, but hey, I like to just hang with you guys, like we're having a beer or we're having a iced matcha latte and talk. But let's get to that talking. Sound good? And what better place to start than with Space Force? Haven't heard about them in a while, have we? Well, they're doing some stuff. They are definitely doing some stuff. I've got the long slide up on here. There we go. There it is. They built their own little space shuttle plane over there. Good job, guys. A little pat on the head over there at Space Force. Little bitty shuttle there. Little shuttle that could. Secretive Space Force mission to launch. So, for those of you who don't know, the X-37B is the U.S. Space Force's secretive space plane. It's already been on a couple missions out in beyond Earth's orbit, doing some pretty secretive stuff. They're pretty cagey about what that stuff is or what it might be. But yeah, Space Force seems to be in full effect, and they have a vehicle out there completing missions, as it were. Again, what those missions are, we're not quite sure yet. But it will soon take flight again, the X-37B. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the image on the right is kind of a rendering of the craft. You can just Google X-37B and see actual images of it, but I thought this render was pretty cool of it. Just above the Earth's horizon there. But the image on the left is real. This was an image that was captured by the X-37B of the Earth, and it looks so cool. Again, Google X-37B image of Earth, and you can see a more detailed version of it. But yeah, it's out there, taking pictures of the Earth. I hope that's not its only mission because we've done that about 1 billion times at this point. But there you go, there you go. But it will take flight again. So on Monday, the Space Force announced that it will fly the small space shuttle-shaped vehicle on the program's 8th mission next month. They're already up to mission 8. Man, it's crazy. The launch of the vehicle on a Falcon 9 rocket is scheduled to occur no earlier than August 21st from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. There are two active X-37Bs in the Space Force fleet, both built by Boeing. Interesting. We're going to be talking about one of Boeing's competitors in just a moment here. Over the past decade and a half, the Space Force has largely remained silent about the purpose of this space plane, flying classified payloads and providing only limited information about the purpose of each flight. However, for this flight, the military has provided a bit more detail about its intentions. The vehicle will fly with a service module that will expand its capacity for experiments, allowing the space plane to host payload for the Air Force Research Laboratory and the Defense Innovation Unit. The mission's goals include tests of high bandwidth inter-satellite laser communication technologies. The spaceplane will also advance the development of a new navigation technology based on electromagnetic wave interference. Space Force news release characterizes this as the highest performing quantum inertial sensor ever tested in space. So, I mean, that's a lot of kind of techno babble, guys. And just like you, I try to grasp what this means for the layman out there. And the bottom line for this is they're testing the tech, which will be helpful for navigating in contested environments where GPS may be degraded or denied. So, whenever you're using Google Maps, or is MapQuest even a thing anymore? I don't know. But when you're using those GPS units in your car, or walking in a city you don't know, that's all done by satellites owned and operated through Google and whatnot. So basically, what Space Force is doing is they're up there, probably putting their own satellites up there to increase the use of communication without having to use antiquated satellite technology, basically. I mean, there's very little antiquated about satellite technology. It's amazing. The fact that you're all watching me from all over the world right now is proof of that. The fact that you can text someone right now or video chat with someone across the world and it's almost crystal clear and perfect is a testament to how far we have come with technology. But Space Force wants to go a little further, and they want to make sure that when push comes to shove and they're not able to use those kind of basic technologies for communication, I'm sure in military operations, space military operations as well, that they'll still be able to communicate some way, somehow. So yeah, interesting, still highly secretive with everything Space Force is doing, but yeah, cool nonetheless. X-37B, the little shuttle that could. I love it. But let's move back to this story here. This came to us from Suzanne, and her research on this one was awesome. She looked into the Lockheed Martin tease of a magical new aircraft. Interesting that this news had come out just weeks, not even, maybe like a week and a half of Ross Coulthart making the sweeping claim, bold claim, that Lockheed Martin controlled the 2004 Nimitz encounter Tic Tac. Man. So what is this magical new aircraft? Let me read this to you guys here. Lockheed Martin, the president and CEO of Lockheed Martin, Jim Taslett, has set the record straight on his aerospace company's current financial situation. And guys, it's not good. It is not looking good for Lockheed Martin at face value, I guess would be a way to put it. They revealed a $1.6 billion pre-tax loss. That does not count taxes. So, holy hell, $1.6 billion. I know that may not be a ton when it comes to the military industrial complex or aerospace companies, but $1.6 billion, none of us in this chat would know what to do with that amount of money if we had it. Money that could feasibly save many third world countries as well. But that's a story for another time. Besides revealing this $1.6 billion loss, they also revealed a, quote, magical next generation aircraft for U.S. and international customers. Okay. This revelation comes following what has been described as one of the company's worst quarters ever in the history of Lockheed Martin. So Jim Taslett said, quote, over the course of the past few months, Lockheed Martin systems and platforms once again proved highly effective in combat operations and in deterring further aggressions. Our F-35s, F-22s, PAC-3, THAAD, Aegis, and many others, crewed by the soldiers, aircrews, sailors, Marines, and Guardians of the U.S. and its allies, and supported by our own dedicated teammates, performed extremely well in the most crucial and challenging situations. We're investing in emerging technologies, and as a proven mission integrator, we remain well positioned to support critical programs. Our relentless focus on operational performance, combined with our disciplined capital allocation strategy, will enable us to deliver value to our shareholders while providing the advanced solutions that America and its allies need to maintain peace through strength for decades to come. Now, this is obviously the CEO trying to talk up, yeah, we lost some money and whatnot, but we're going to gain so much in investment and through these technologies we're developing right now that we have possibly developed in the past and the future of Lockheed Martin and what they can bring to the war machine. When it comes to Skunk Works specifically, Taslett had this to say. This is where things get pretty interesting. Skunk Works and these programs discovered new insights in the quarter that required us to adjust our expected future costs on the programs and then recognize the charge for doing so. This is a highly classified program that can only be described as game-changing capability for our joint U.S. and international customers, and therefore it is critical that it be successfully fielded. With our enhanced oversight of this program and rapid incorporation of lessons learned, we expect to continue to reduce risk over the next few years as we move through the key milestones of this very advanced system. But that's the nature of something of this magical status. We probably won't be able to talk about what that is for many years to come, but I can assure you that it's going to be in high demand for a very, very long time. Wow. Interesting. In a time where possibly Lockheed Martin is taking responsibility for the Tic Tac event back in 2004, they're now teasing a magical aircraft that they have been developing and plan to roll out, even though we, the public, probably won't know about it for a while. But those investors might. So my question to you guys is, could these possible investors be the people that Ross Coulthart's talking to? I mean, are the investors merely the United States military? I doubt it. I'm sure there's other companies and independent investors that invest in Lockheed Martin as well. It's interesting. Are they the ones he was talking to? I don't know, but I find it very coincidental that this story would come out a week after Lockheed Martin kind of boasting that they have new technology, try to bolster their credibility financially with their investors. And then we come to find out that one of the most famous UFO events of the past few decades could have been at the hand of Lockheed Martin. I don't know. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff. What's in the box? I want to know what is in that box. But we may never know. We may never know until it's too late. Speaking of Lockheed Martin, Ross Coulthart, got to talk about it. He did another reality check episode today, a couple hours ago, actually. So I ripped this clip pretty damn quick for you guys here. I'm going to show this, and this is interesting. This is Ross Coulthart giving us an updated kind of response to a question posed by none other than UFO researcher Christina Gomez. So kudos to Christina. Got a question in there to ask Ross about the Tic Tac, about Eric Burleson and everything in between. And we get kind of an interesting answer from Ross Coulthart. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for you guys. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about this on the other side. Give this a watch.
As she is a UFO UAP reporter, and she posted this explosive revelation. Congressman Eric Burleson drops bombshell evidence that Lockheed Martin has developed 3 generations of Tic Tac UFO technology. A new insider has come forward with video documentation showing the evolution of these craft from the original 2004 Tic Tac encounter to advanced propulsion systems now hidden in conventional looking aircraft. Your reaction?
Well, I haven't spoken to Representative Burleson, but I'm certainly interested in what he's talking about, not least because he'll be another target for the people that think that it's terrible to talk about the possibility that Lockheed Martin might be responsible for the Tic Tac. I do not resile from my comments of a couple of weeks back, where I do believe that the 2004 Tic Tac incident had Lockheed Martin at the helm. And it's interesting to see a congressman of the status of Representative Burleson, who of course is a member of the Transparency Oversight Committee, making these statements. I think we can all say, watch that space. I'm certainly interested to hear more. It's perhaps opportune also to point out that in their own corporate advertising, Lockheed Martin has indicated very recently that it has magical new technology in as yet unreleased aerospace prototypes. What is Lockheed Martin talking about? I think I know, but let's just wait and see. One of the risks for America is catastrophic disclosure. Maybe this is a good time for the President and the National Security Council, and indeed blue chip defense aerospace companies like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, to seriously think about coming clean with the American public. It doesn't require the secrets of that technology to be disclosed, but the mere fact that they exist is something that I think cannot justifiably be withheld from the knowledge of the public any longer. I'd be interested to see what Lockheed Martin had to say. One of the things a lot of people have asked me about, by the way, is whether a corporate blue chip, a publicly listed company like Lockheed Martin, is legally obliged to disclose to its shareholders that it has technology that could materially affect its share price significantly, because of course any company that has technology such as this, or any kind of breakthrough such as this, it has a potential bearing of course on their share price. And it's interesting, I've been speaking to people on the stock market, and they've pointed out to me that there are exclusions under corporate laws in America which would allow materially sensitive, scientifically sensitive, national security sensitive information to be withheld from the knowledge of shareholders if it's something that needs to be national security protected. And those exemptions exist under corporate laws in America as they do in Australia. Be very, very interested to know, by the way, if anybody is aware of that exemption having been used by Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and a couple of other blue chip companies. Watch this space. More to come.
More to come. What else is new? I had to look up what a blue chip aerospace company is. Basically, it's a well-established aerospace firm with a history of stable financial performance and a significant market presence. So, like, you know, the big ones like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed, Boeing, stuff like that. So yeah, They're often included in major stock market indexes. So there you go. There's your little lesson on what a blue chip aerospace company is. My question remains: why would an aerospace company be testing something during a training exercise that they say that their company prides itself on risk management? I think it's a ton fuck of a risk to put a tic tac up in the middle of a training exercise. So yeah, still calling bullshit on that one, Ross. But hey, you know, the day might come where I Eat Crow and Ross Coulthart is 100% correct on all of this. Or he's been lied to and he's been played, or we've all been played. Welcome to ufology. Suzanne says Ross's face right now says it all. It reminds me of the wah wah wah, or cue the Curb Your Enthusiasm music. I don't know. We're taking the piss out on Ross. You know, I have nothing personal against Ross Coulthart. I know a lot of people vehemently dislike him and everything he stands for. His past work back in Australia, he got caught up in some pretty scandalous stuff when it comes to reporting over there in Australia on a lot of things that I don't want to bring up here. And a lot of people believe this is why he was fired from 60 Minutes over in Australia. I know that people like Grant Levac disagree with that and have their own arguments against that and why they continue to support the work of someone like Ross Coulthart. But yeah, I was kind of excited to hear Christina ask this question, and I was hoping, you know, for a bit more about the Tic Tac, but I don't know if anything really came to light from this again. Um, Thus seems to be the latest trend when it comes to the work of Ross Coulthart. He provides these huge claims on things. The UFO so big it's built under a building. You know, the whole Jake Barber egg thing. Now this Tic Tac. It just I have nothing else to say. Let's move on. My silence, I think, says it all. Um, I'm gonna move to some interesting, exciting stories, guys. Let's get positive, right? Let's get a little weird. Let's go to space, shall we? I've got some awesome stories that we're going to talk about that include the work of Dr. Avi Loeb and the Galileo Project, Dr. Beatriz Villarroel with the Vasco Project. We've got some updates on the UAPDA when it comes to Chuck Schumer and what's going on with that. We thought it was dead. It's not. He's still pushing for it through amendment. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about some controversial warnings made by a quote unquote whistleblower to other whistleblowers who may come forward and try to testify before Congress. Does he think that's a good idea? We'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to take a quick commercial break here, guys. Come back on the other side, bring Suzanne in, and get talking about all the latest news when it comes to Avi Loeb, Beatriz, and Chuck Schumer, and all of it. So stick with us. We will be right back with Somewhere in the live stream. Stay tuned. Greetings, everyone. Ryan Sprague here, host of Somewhere in the Skies. For over 7 years and more than 400 episodes, the Somewhere in the Skies podcast has always been free to listen to, but it's not free to create. So we offer several ways to help support our efforts and get rewards in return. If you listen to the podcast on Apple, you can click the subscribe button at the top of your Somewhere in the Skies feed to become a premium Apple subscriber. Or you can join our Patreon campaign with several tiers available. Both of these options give you the same benefits and rewards: ad-free episodes, early access to the main show, and bonus episodes and content. Help keep the lights on at the Somewhere in the Skies HQ, and help us continue to grow by becoming a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/somewhereskies, or by clicking the subscribe button at the top of your Apple feed. Thank you for your continued support, and keep looking up. All right, guys, welcome back to Somewhere in the Live Stream. Yes, if you would like to help out the show, Patreon and Apple Premium are wonderful ways to do that, where you get benefits and rewards in return. You can find that at patreon.com/somewhereskies or click that subscribe button at the top of your Apple feed if you're listening to the podcast version of this, which will be available in the future. If you would like to help us immediately tonight, one time, you can do that through the super chat or super stickers. We have a goal of 5 super chats or super stickers tonight to help fund Anomicon 2025. We got one so far. Let's keep them coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. How's everyone doing in the chat? How you liking the episode so far tonight? Bob Lazar's here. Don't trust Ross, he says. Big Bobby Lasers. Do we think it's really him? Suzanne, what do you think? Interesting. I don't think so either. No. Did I just see Jaime Maussan's name? I like him more than Jaime Maussan, but that's not saying much. I have a feeling that's about Ross. Poor Rossi the Aussie. What's up? We got some new people here tonight. Jersey Boy. What's going on? Can you hear the crowds over there in East Rutherford at SummerSlam? Let me know. WWE SummerSlam, East Rutherford, New Jersey, tonight. Cody Rhodes is going up for John Cena for the undisputed title. For those of you who don't know, John Cena recently turned heel, which in wrestling terms means he turned into a bad guy for the first time in his entire career. It made international news. It was like a big, big deal. The dude is like the nicest guy ever. He's always been a hero to kids out there. He has the Guinness Book World Record for most Make-A-Wishes ever. And he turned bad guy for the first time ever in wrestling. Broke the hearts and spirits of so many out there. But it was also one of the biggest moments in wrestling history. However, right before SummerSlam this weekend, it's possible that he may have turned back babyface, which means good guy, hero. So we'll see. We'll see if that was all a swerve. I'm giving you all these wrestling terms tonight. A swerve is when, a twist, like an M. Night Shyamalan twist or whatnot. Will he turn bad guy again tonight? Was this all a ploy? I don't know. We'll see. Will The Rock show up? I hope so. We got to get this done so I can go watch SummerSlam. It's not for another hour or so. We'll be done before that. I promise, guys. I promise. But let's not waste any more time. Thank you so much to James Craig for the $10 super chat, buddy, for Anomicon. Truly do appreciate that. Always coming in clutch, James Craig. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But let's bring in Suzanne so you guys know what that means. I need all the regulars to hold down the fort in the chat while she's with me. We will try to look it over as each other are talking and see if you guys have any input on the stories we're going to be talking about. So yeah, let's do it. Let's bring her in. I do have her image here for the background. So we are good to go. Here we go. There she is.
How's everybody?
Hey, everyone say hello to Suzanne. I don't know what that was. Hey.
More wrestling.
Yeah, sounded like a wrestling thing, or like one of those like morning talk shows. Like,
there you go.
I'm Bubba and the Zoo Boys. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Lucy Kaplan. Thank you for that.
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Lucy.
You get that.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are coming through tonight.
Coming through. Thank you, guys. That's 3 super chats. We need 2 more to reach that goal. We'll gladly take more if need
That's
be.
right. Bust it out.
Yeah, we'll be fine with that. I'm so excited for Anomicon, Suzanne. Have you been checking out the website at all about the speakers?
Incredible group. I can't wait. In fact, as soon as we're through with this, the last thing I'll roll is the Anomicon link, and everybody go check it out.
Awesome. Yeah. And as the weeks go on, I think what I'll do is I'll kind of highlight some of our speakers, what they'll be talking about. I'm really excited. I really tried to step outside of the box. And I know I've said that probably the past 2 years too, but find people whose voices have never been out there, and I think I have found some very unique individuals who are willing to do this. some of which have never given a talk before. I just talked to a guy who's going to be giving a talk on like conspiracy theory, and he was just like elated. He's like, no one has ever given me an opportunity like this, so thank you. And like that just like touched my heart. Like this is just a little
It should.
thing, like a half-ass scheme I had 2 years ago. I'm like, hey, I've got a live stream software. Why don't I try doing like a virtual conference? And I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew the first year by myself. Luckily,
Oh,
you were
God,
there for year 2.
that's right.
But yeah, the fact that like someone would say that, like, this, thank you so much for this like, thank you to that person. I'll be announcing them very soon. And
Well,
to
and I
all of
want
you
everyone in the
speakers.
chat to understand how much work this is to pull this together, including setting goals for yourself about reaching out to people that we don't hear from all the time.
Mhm.
The regulars, they are wonderful and they step up right away. But not only did you have to do a lot of work to find some new voices, and of course, there will be some of the familiar voices as well. But you also, it's hard to say no to people that you really appreciate
Yep.
contributing every year. And so it's tricky business, everybody. So when he pulls this off with new voices, cheer for him from the background.
Well, thank you. And again, like I could not do it without your help and the incredible volunteer work of our speakers. Volunteer to an extent. Now, I do always offer monetary compensation to our speakers, and that comes through the form of donations and ad space and stuff like that. However, all of that money, I either offer to the speakers individually, or it goes to a charity that we decide on ahead of time. And I'll tell you, like, most of the speakers are just like, give it to the charity, which
That's
I appreciate. I would not think twice if they were like, yeah, I'll take
sure.
a
It's up
few
to them.
bones. Like, they deserve it. They're giving me their time, their talents, their insights, and everything. So like
And it's
they
not
are
our
owed
place
that.
to judge kind of what's going on in their world, right? Financially.
Everyone's struggling. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much. Like, so
Speaking
again,
of,
huge
yeah.
thank you to you guys. Looking
And a
forward
big
to
thank
another
you to
Anomicon.
All Work and Low Pay. Thank
Thank you, all
you.
work. Truly do appreciate that
Thank
as
you.
well. Yeah. All right, Suzanne, should we get to some of these stories that you and I compiled this week?
Let's do. Last
Uh,
week, I started off the week with the research thinking, oh my God, we're going to have to play Tiddlywinks or something on the live stream this week. And then by the end of the week, like, oh my God, I needed to stop.
It always happens. That always
It's
happens.
crazy.
Yeah. That, like, we're like, oh, we have nothing to talk about. And then like 2 days
Boom.
before, everyone's like, hey, someone's doing a live stream on Sunday. Let's throw everything at them and, baby
Yeah,
in the bathwater.
exactly.
But again, like, I could see your papers right there. You've got plenty prepped. I know you do.
Yes, of course.
Galen says, I love UFO tiddlywinks. That's going on a t-shirt. That is
Yeah,
definitely going
that's
on a
exactly
t-shirt.
right. Maybe we need to come up with our own game.
Yep. Where should we? Let's start with this one. Now, you have kind of a tangential connection to this story in some ways. So I want to talk about the reintroduction of the UAPDA, which Chuck Schumer is helming this time. Now, it was him, and I believe it was Mike Rounds the
Right.
last time, and it was correct me if I'm wrong, it did not make it into the last national defense authorization.
Nope.
But Schumer's not giving up. And what he wants to do is kind of go at it from the side and use it as an amendment to try to get it in. And look, like, these national defense bills or whatever are so big and massive that, like, it's like, I imagine it as this giant snail going down a road and inconsequentially picking up little things on the way that are like, oh, I'm going to hitch a ride on this. That's
Great
like,
analogy. That's
I don't know
exactly
where
what it
that
feels
came
like.
from. I have no idea where that came from. But yeah, like, if you can't get it in as a bill itself or whatnot, like, let's try to slide it in an amendment under something to do with the defense or
Right.
this or that. So that's what he's trying to do. Now, the big contention is, with many out there, nothing has changed from the
So that begged
original.
1,000 questions. Yeah.
Yeah, which, you would think it didn't work the first time. It's like insanity, which
Right.
the definition is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. Why did they think that not changing anything would work? I don't know.
I don't either. And there is an audio from Matt Laszlo at Askapol. If you're not following him, everyone, I would suggest that you do. He is fearless in getting in these politicians' faces and into their offices, and he just doesn't give up. But he got Schumer to tell him on this exact question that basically the person who was in the way last time isn't around anymore. So is that one positive piece of the puzzle? I think it is. We're still stuck with this eminent domain thing, though, and I just don't see how we're going to get around that. But I also have this distinct sense that they know something we don't know about why it might work this time. And perhaps this one person who's now out of the way, which I think was named Turner, Representative Turner, maybe, maybe this was something that just one little Dutch boy with his finger in the dike, in the hole in the dike could, once he's, his fingers out, it rolls. Hard to imagine, but maybe.
I'm so happy you brought it up, the eminent domain. And I understand the logic behind what you just mentioned there, but I do want to go back to that for a minute. Now, John Greenwald of the Black Vault came out with a video, and I sat there, stood up, and clapped. I don't think I've ever done that for someone's YouTube video, because and you and I have talked off air about this quite a bit. I am vehemently against this part of the UAPDA. Dan Zetterstrom and I talked about this just last week, or the week before, excuse me.
Right.
I didn't do a live stream last week, about the good things in there, which is this like review board.
Right.
Genius. Love
Great
it.
idea.
Get that through.
Experts in who are in this field, who can analyze it appropriately and address issues related to it.
With no preconceived notions, no UFO baggage, nothing.
Right.
Love it. Love it. That's awesome. The release of more files, always obviously for that. But this eminent domain thing haunts my dreams, my nightmares, I should say. Because when you look at this term eminent domain, it just reeks of non-transparency rather than transparency.
And over control. It's over control as well.
Yes, exactly. Over control. And that's kind of what John was stressing. I think what I want to do, if you don't mind, I want to play a brief clip from John Greenwald's video about why he believes eminent domain is a terrible idea and they should have stripped that thing right out when trying to put this into an amendment. So I'm going to play that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it on the other side. Because like I said, you are working with a group right now who is assisting with the UAPDA. So I'm sure all of you in your respective groups have your varying opinions on this specific thing, eminent domain.
Extremely strong opinions on it.
Yeah. I'm sure. But let's get John's opinion, and then we'll kind of wrap up the Schumer amendment and get to some fun space news. Sound good?
All right, let's go for it.
Cool. Let me find the video. Eminent domain. Here we go. John Greenwald of the Black Vault. Shout out to John. Thanks for letting us share this, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Opinion. Here's the conspiracy side in me, and some of you may hate me for it. It's almost like it's written to fail. And one of the things that I brought up the first time that this appeared was the eminent domain part. And it reads like this: exercise of eminent domain. The federal government shall exercise eminent domain over any and all recovered technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence that may be controlled by private persons or entities in the interests of the public good. That's key there. Private persons or entities. That's not just the Lockheed Martins of the world. That's the Brandon Fugels of the world. Those are people that are maybe spending their own money to finance their own projects that may make an astronomical discovery of some kind, and the government can just come in and take it. That they can go in and shield it from the rest of the public because it's in the public good. Well, what if the public good is absolutely keeping it secret, because we know that a lot of the UAP related issues, they believe that the public should be in the dark. I personally do not believe that it's legally justified in many cases. In some, I hate to say it, it is. Kill me. Shoot me. Shoot the messenger. But I've dealt with a lot of government secrets, and I've dealt with legal issues for a long time when it comes to this. And there are some secrets that need to be kept. Sorry, there just are. However, when it comes to UAP issues, that's a different ballgame. There are certain things that absolutely, justifiably, should remain secret. Others should not. But in their eyes, in the public good, right, for the public benefit, they're going to keep it a secret because you are the national security risk. Goes right back to the 1952 Robertson panel report that the real national security threat behind the UAP UFO topic was the general public itself, and the harm that you guys can do by asking the questions, ringing the phones, making a stink out of the secrecy, the cover-up. That is a national security risk and has been for decades. Don't take my word for it. It's in black and white, and it goes back to the 1950s. So it's very interesting when you see this, because in the greater good, the public good, they think it's better for you to be in the dark. So this paves the way for them to go to the private industry and the private people and say, hey, we're going to take this. Why? Because it's your or the public's best interest. That's what this language says. You don't need to take my word for it. This is completely overreaching language that both Dems and Republicans are not going to get on board with. You can introduce whatever you want. You can even have the support of a select few people. Doesn't mean it's going to pass. Now, am I wrong? Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I'm not here to be an expert on anything. I told you earlier what my feelings are on the E word. But regardless, I've dealt with enough issues here that when you start introducing eminent domain language where you can go in and take things from private people and entities, that is problematic on so many different levels.
Okay. Two things, Suzanne. First of all, I just discovered we can put the chat up on the actual
Yes.
screen, so that's cool.
There you
Hello,
are.
technology.
Yeah.
Awesome. And the other thing is I wanted to give a huge shout out
To
to Neil
Ian.
Bradley, Anomicon Beers. Thank you, Neil. And to Ian Smith with 99.
Woo.
Is that euros or pounds? I don't know. I should know that by now. I've lived in the UK for 2 years. Pounds. There we go. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, all of you,
So kind.
for your support.
Makes
That
such
is
a huge difference.
wow. Wow. Thank you guys. We truly do appreciate all of that. But getting back to this. Okay, so I didn't even think about people like Brandon Fugel. Now,
But
I
I
do
also want
remember
you
him
to think
talking
about
about
it.
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I also want you to think about it, not just the Brandon Fugels and the Skinwalker Ranches who are doing their very own work with the government out of their business, private science. Think about that language in regard to people like Bob Lazar and Element 1519, whatever it
115.
was, 115. So it's scary to me that this reads so well on its surface, like, gosh, this is a good plan. But it is absolutely correct on Mr. Greenwald's part that it is a construct for trouble. And, I don't understand how they think the Lockheed Martins are going to respond to the eminent domain thing. These people, Skinwalker Ranch included, Brandon Fugel, have spent God only knows how much of their own money. And now Lockheed may also be spending taxpayer dollars, and that's a different line for me. But there are also sort of the Bob Lazars out there who claim to have a piece of this or that or whatever. Can it all just be scooped up and black boxed? Is it actually constructed, this act, to fail, and not just fail politically, but fail disclosure?
Very good point. It does seem, like John said, that this was almost written to fail. The other one that always really got to me was how many times they use the wording NHI
Yes.
in the UAPDA. Now, I mean, the the alien brain in me, the alien loving brain in me is like, yeah, like just like rip the band-aid off, put it in there, NHI, put it in there 50 times. Like, let's get to the heart of it. Is it non-human intelligence? But then the other part of me is like, they're gonna look at that and laugh and say, denied. I don't know. This it just seems like a lot of the wording in this thing it it seems like it was thought out. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I'm sure it went through a committee. I'm sure a lot of thought and time went into it. However, seeing it fail and seeing the things in it not come to fruition makes me think there has to be a better way of doing
There
this,
has to
some
be.
way, somehow.
Yeah, there has to be. And a really bright lawyer connected to my group of lawyers was working so hard on what he calls a registration act. So take away this obligation or this right of the government to snatch away from you your work and simply require registration and then put a review board in. And you could do, I can see how the two acts could then be blended sort of to get to a workable framework that didn't set us all up to fail. But that was heartily rejected. And they were determined to go forward with this act again as basically failed the first time. So I think we just keep watching and see what it is. I think it did pass in the Senate and now the House has it. Did that happen late in the day, yesterday, or the day before? But
Oh, I don't know.
but that's where its trouble was before. So
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, your better half. No, not your better half. Your second half.
You
you're
see
both you're both the best. He had a good comment here. Doesn't eminent domain require compensation to the person whose property is being taken? Now,
You can tell
I
lawyer
do
Landers
wonder.
is thinking on this as well. He's a lawyer as well. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure y'all just want to eavesdrop on our very lawyerly discussions with each other. But
Oh my gosh, I
yes,
can
he's
imagine.
correct. They can't just take it. Well, they can just take it, but they have to pay you for it. And it happens all the time on public right-of-ways where we need easements for highways, railroads, utilities. That is all taken through the legal process of legal domain. Eminent domain. And but then you have to get the experts involved on what exactly is a Tic Tac's value if we're going to take it away from Lockheed Martin. Does our government even have that much money? I don't know.
Right.
But you can see the layers of legal complexity and financial complexity that come with pushing this concept. It's just highly unworkable, or so it seems to me.
What we need is for Pawn Stars to come back, the TV show Pawn Stars, and
Yes.
someone to bring the Tic Tac in there, and for them to say, "Best I can do is $30."
Yeah.
I don't
Watch
know.
what this Tic Tac does. You're going to pay us 50. Yeah.
Right. Wait, didn't you see the official Navy UFO video? Come on,
Yeah,
that thing
right.
zipped away.
Right. Worth at least 50. Yeah.
Have you not been paying attention to the New York Times since 2017? This thing is worth at least $40. Come on.
Well, I think you might learn
yeah.
a little more about kind of what's going on as the House dissects it and amends it, if that's what they choose. So I don't know. I'll just sit and watch one more time, right? It's so frustrating. I feel like that's all we do is sit and watch.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
ask more questions.
Yep. Well, hey, I'm all for the registering thing. I think that's a wonderful idea. If anyone within, of any sphere of influence when it comes to the wording in these things happens to be watching this or listening, like all the power to you. But like I would look at this registration thing again, give it a second look, see how you could possibly incorporate that into the eminent domain thing and work with it, because I can tell you right now, the eminent domain thing, it's not going to fly. I don't care if they think they know more than us, the people wording this thing. It's dumb. And that's coming from me. That I do not want to speak for Suzanne, because I know you're working with people who have influence of these things. But coming from me, the dumb UFO researcher who doesn't know legalities, doesn't know how a lot of this stuff works, I am still 100% against this eminent domain thing, and I will not change my mind.
And don't discount your opinion, because lawyers and politicians can silo themselves intellectually, right? You can be in enough of an echo chamber that you forget what the average person thinks about this, and that might matter. And so I think it's a really good example of what ought to be taken into consideration by those in power. Is really, how's this striking every man? And when they look at their own business, do they want someone wandering in and just taking things for pennies on the dollar, or to buy? Think about it. If you were trying to defend your podcast taking away, how would you value that? What would you be spending in lawyers and experts? I mean, it's not okay. It's not okay.
Yeah. We have seen what Americans will do when the government tries to take their guns from them. Can you imagine if they tried to take your UFO?
Your Tic Tac.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Your Element 115. No.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Not happening. Not happening.
Right.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. So let's move to Avi Loeb. Avi Loeb has been back in the news recently with some pretty, I'm just going to say it, sensational headlines, one of which I have actually put here for you guys. Could a new interstellar object be a hostile alien threat? Now, this comes to us on the heels of a story we reported on somewhat recently about this Atlas interstellar object that's going to be zipping through our solar system. It's already here. So I'm going to read a little bit of this, and then I've got a video from News Nation that Avi recently did, and I want to get your thoughts on this one, Suzanne. So on July 1st, 2025, astronomers discovered an interstellar object named 3I Atlas. While most researchers classify it as a comet traveling at over 130,000 miles per hour with a gas and dust coma and possibly billions of years old, Avi Loeb and co-authors recently published a speculative paper proposing it might instead be an alien probe, perhaps even possibly hostile. They base this idea on several anomalous traits: its unusual trajectory, its proximity to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, its non-gravitational acceleration lacking evidence of a cometary outgassing, and its retrograde orbital tilt that would make it hard to intercept, but advantageous for a hidden mission. Bum, bum, bum. Interesting. Now, I saw headline. I had my dad, like the morning this story came out, he messaged me, linked this, and he was like, should I be, do I have to go to work today, or is the planet going to get destroyed by aliens? What's going on here? And big places pick this up. People magazine.
Right.
I think the what's that one called? The Today News, Good Morning America. You had the usuals, New York Post, all those tabloidy places here in the UK picked it up as well. But they all said that Avi Loeb said that this interstellar object could be hostile aliens. So I don't know. What should we do? Do you want to talk a little bit about it, or should I go to the video first? It's up to you.
I think maybe play the video, and then I hope we can talk about the trajectory question that he raises, because I find that very interesting.
Yeah. I think he does comment on that in the video, if memory serves me, but let's give it a watch. Yeah. And then we'll comment about it on the other side. Let me find the video here. I've given up uploading them ahead of time because that never works anymore. But here we go.
Disaster.
I know. Here we go. Avi Loeb, News Nation. Boom.
On a trajectory that is very unusual. It is aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, and it will get extremely close to the inner planets, like, for example, Jupiter, Mars, or Venus. It will arrive closest to the Sun when the Earth is on the opposite side, so we won't be able to look at it. And that's the point where a spacecraft could make a maneuver to slow down. and it's coming from the direction of the Milky Way galaxy, the center of the Milky Way galaxy, where the sky is very crowded with stars. So that's why it took a while to notice it. And altogether, the chance of this trajectory is less than 0.2% to be aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, less than 1 part in 20,000 to arrive so close to the other planets. And one wonders, could it be a design trajectory? And I'm not saying that we know, but I'm saying that we need to collect more data to figure out the nature of this object. And if it turns out to be a comet, if it's surrounded by a beautiful cometary tail that is glowing in the sunlight as it gets closer to the sun, so be it. But from now on, the Rubin Observatory in Chile will discover a new interstellar object every few months. And my point is, we should check whether any of these objects might be technological in origin, because it's a security risk to Earth.
Right. How do you check that? So it's interesting you mentioned about the trail that might indicate it's a comet. What would be the signs that it's not a comet?
Well, so I suggest first establishing a scale of risk from interstellar objects, similar to the Richter scale for the risk from earthquakes. A 0 would mean that we identify a beautiful tail and it looks just like a regular comet. We can infer the composition of the tail. It's similar to comets. A 10 would mean that the object maneuvers in ways that cannot be explained by the force of gravity, that there must be an engine in it, or it has an unusual shape, or it has artificial lights. And there should be an organization that decides whether an incoming object could be a risk, because we talk a lot about existential risks from artificial intelligence, from climate change, from an asteroid that may impact the Earth, but we don't talk at all about the possibility of alien tech. And I think we should take it into consideration, because we sent out spacecraft that would leave the solar system.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So it is estimated to be about 12 miles long, okay? You, and correct me if I'm wrong, you want to use NASA's Juno spacecraft to intercept the path of that. It has instruments that could study it. It could change the trajectory of the orbit. Can you explain a little bit more how this would work?
Yeah, so we should take advantage of the fact that it comes so close to Jupiter. It's quite amazing. If you look at Jupiter's orbit, it just gets to the point where 3I Atlas will be on the 16th of March, 2026. And I calculated that if we give a small kick to Juno of 2.6 kilometers per second, just around the time when NASA was thinking of just sinking it into Jupiter, because it's the end of the mission. And I'm saying, instead of letting it dive into Jupiter, just kick it out away from Jupiter, then with the right orientation, it will actually intercept the path of 3I Atlas. And it's an amazing opportunity for us to learn much more about this object. Because we can't launch any rocket from Earth that would intercept this object. It's moving too fast relative to Earth, in the opposite direction of the motion of Earth around the sun.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, so much that we could bounce off of when it comes to that. Like, I love this idea of using a past NASA mission on the tail end of the mission, basically, to try to intercept this thing. I feel like it's like playing a game of like football or something. Like they're trying to make sure they can get in and tackle the quarterback or something before it gets into the end zone. But trajectory, you had mentioned that caught your attention. What did you want to bring up when it comes to that?
So you heard him say that it is moving in a way, in a crowded field of our sky, that makes it very difficult to learn more about. But then on the trajectory in relation to that, it's going to pop in behind our sun where we can't see it. And so that too is problematic in terms of studying it. And so he, in a different video, he went on about how those two things have to be considered when we look to intent. So this is a great way for NHI to safely approach, knowing we really can't intercept it unless we can figure this Jupiter thing out. We can't, it's too late to send a rocket, it's too late to do anything else. So, and then to come in at a time and in a location where we can't see it either. It's on the wrong side of the sun. We were stuck. So I'm hoping someone's listening about his idea to use this object that we already have in space. We've already spent the $1 billion necessary to get it out there. And if we're just going to dive it into Jupiter, let's reuse it. Let's send it. What's the downside? So it doesn't work. Okay, well, we tried. But just because we can't do everything doesn't mean we shouldn't do something, is how I look at this.
I agree, like proactive instead of reactive. By the time this thing's gone, we'll just be like, oh, well, when the next one comes, we'll be ready. We're
Right.
never ready. Like
Never.
we said that about Oumuamua, that we would take steps to try to capture these things. And then this one came in and we're like, oh, well, we missed that one. These things seem to be coming at an alarming rate now. We went centuries without interstellar objects entering our solar system, and now we've had like 3 or 4 in the past couple years. That says something to me.
It does
I'm
to
sorry.
me too. And keep in
Yeah.
mind that this one is 12 miles long. This isn't somebody skipping a rock across a lake. This is a
No.
great big object.
This
So-
ain't your daddy's Oumuamua.
It's your daddy's Oumuamua. That's right.
It's much bigger, much faster. And like you said, the trajectory is interesting. Now, I know a lot of people in the chat are saying like fear mongering is not good. I understand that. Like
There was
it's
a lot
not
of that
good.
this week. There was a
Yeah, and-
lot of that. Yeah.
I do want to kind of demystify that, because it's not Avi Loeb necessarily putting out these very fear-driven headlines and whatnot. And he even kind of corrected a lot of that journalism, if you even want to call it that. And he did want to clarify that the idea is a pedagogical
A teaching tool. It's a
a
teaching
teaching tool.
That's
There we go.
a teaching tool. Mhm.
Me write words sometimes, Susan. Me write words good times sometimes. Rather than a confirmed theory, he warned that if the hypothesis were true, it could lend credibility to the dark forest hypothesis, the unsettling notion that alien civilizations stay silent to avoid hostile contact. In a blog post, he cautioned that the consequences for humanity could be dire if we are indeed being observed. So it's just a theory. And what I always like about Avi Loeb, whether you agree with him or not, and look, a lot of scientists think this guy's a complete quack, has lost it, is a fraud, a grifter, you name it. Avi Loeb has been called it by the mainstream scientific community. But what I respect is that he's willing to step on the landmines, ask the crazy, kooky questions, and pose some data and evidence that says, hey, let's at least keep this door cracked open instead of closing it shut completely. Because what if it is? And what if it's too late? So I appreciate that he's willing to risk his reputation time and time and time again, because I guarantee you, it's getting harder and harder for the mainstream scientific community to take this man seriously. Whether it's those little sphericals that he dug up from the bottom of the ocean, whether it's Oumuamua, whether it's this Atlas thing now. I find it all fascinating. And like you said, we have to ask the question. We can't just ignore it. So,
and that's the
it's
context
interesting.
in which I interpret his whole presentation in that video is, let's include the concept of NHI in the thought and learning process. I'm not saying that that's what this is, but I'm saying it is irresponsible and very much of sort of a don't look up moment to exclude that as a possibility. And why don't we have a Richter scale sort of thing, or, roster for objects in space? Any one of those objects, if it hit at the right angle, at the right size, in the right place, could be catastrophic. That ought to exist. And so when people get frustrated with Avi, like, back up and think like he's thinking. He's not saying this is what it is. He's saying include the possibility because it's a smart thing to do, even if it never happens. Maybe we are alone, and Fermi is wrong. I don't think so, but it doesn't make sense to eliminate the thought and the preparedness around that to me.
Yeah, I'm sure with a trial, in a courtroom, there's 1,000 questions
Right.
you prepare that never get asked, but they need to be there
That's
just
right.
in case. So, yeah,
Basic thought.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
He is brave though, isn't he? I mean,
ah,
he doesn't flinch. Now he may feel the weight of the comments in the privacy of his real life, but he seems fearless to me in the
yes.
face of the grief he gets.
Well, and I feel like some of that fearlessness comes with a childhood like wonderment.
Yes.
This guy reminds me so much of me as a kid when I would ask my mom and dad the dumbest questions. But you know what? I got the answer and I never asked the question again. But
And you
Avi
learn
is willing
something.
to ask those questions. Yes.
You
And
learn
I love
something.
that. He keeps us all young.
He does.
Keeps
And
us
he's
all
a funny
young.
fellow too.
He really is. I
Yeah.
know. I know. A
Character.
couple comments here before we move
Oh
on,
yeah.
Suzanne, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Has anyone tried to remote view Atlas? That's interesting, Pat. I would love to see if anyone was willing or has done that. All work, low pay. I mean, he's right. We don't know until we know.
That's right.
Kurt says, I love Avi. May not agree with everything he says, but at least he's willing to speculate. Yep.
That's it right there. There is no harm and often tremendous value in just thinking.
Yep.
Thinking out loud.
Thinking out loud. Michelle says, Avi is the child in us all.
Michelle's correct.
I love it. I love it. I have a interesting question from Disclosure Ladies. I do want to say a hello to Disclosure Ladies. They do wonderful work over on their YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to them, guys, if you get the opportunity. I will save that question for later on in the episode as we're closing things out. But hello to the ladies over at Disclosure Ladies. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's move to a lady, and that is astronomer, astrophysicist, vanishing star extraordinaire, the one and only Beatriz Villarroel. I'm going to be meeting up with Beatriz in about a week and a half, both here in Edinburgh and in Hexham, UK. We will both be speaking at Cosmic Frequencies, coming to you guys August 9th in the UK. We played the commercial for it. Link is in the show notes, cosmicfrequencies.org. If you want to come see us give our talks live and be part of an awesome panel discussion with some people from the BBC, from the Kielder Observatory in the UK. We're going to have a great, great time. But Beatrice has been busy, whether it's the Baltic Sea anomaly or now these two papers that she recently put into preprint, Suzanne. So this story has been blowing up all over.
I think this is the story of the week.
This is the story of the week. I'm still trying to make sense of it. You and I are part of a chat group that talks all about all the latest stuff in the UFO world. And I had to just straight up ask the group, guys, dumb this down for me, because I am trying to make heads and tails of all of this, and I'm having a hard time. So what I have come to deduce is Beatrice came out with two separate papers recently. One of them having to do with the possible connections between UAP events and nuclear testing events, which was pretty interesting. However, that was not the big major bombshell story. It was actually the second paper that she would put into preprint. And by preprint, we mean these papers still need to be discussed and evaluated and peer reviewed by the scientific community. But what they found was interesting. So what I'll do right here, Suzanne, is just read very quickly about the first paper, the one about nuclear testing sites and whatnot. It's pretty interesting. Since 2017, the Vanishing and Appearing Sources, Vasco company that Beatrice has founded, has attempted to look for stars and other sources of light that have disappeared from view or have dimmed unusually over the 20th and 21st centuries. The team has previously found that around 100 stars have disappeared from view without an explanation. In the latest study from the group, which has not yet completed peer review, they focused on transient star-like objects observed in the pre-Sputnik era, or before any satellites had been launched into orbit by humans. The team identified transients captured by the Palomar Observatory Sky Survey, which scanned the skies from November 1949 to April 28th, 1957. According to the team, if transients occurred more frequently around weapons tests, it could indicate that they are unknown atmospheric phenomenon resulting from the nuclear blasts. But the team also considered UAP sightings, noting that they had been reported around nuclear and weapon tests as well as around nuclear facilities. As well as this, the team found a smaller association between UAP sightings and transient observations, with the association being stronger when multiple transients were captured. As for an explanation, the team suggests a few. The second, attributed largely from UFO lore, is that UAPs may be attracted to nuclear weapons and tests, and they are real objects captured in our atmosphere or in orbit around the Earth. But a more likely explanation proposed, given that we have no evidence of alien life thus far, is that nuclear tests trigger an atmospheric phenomenon which results in the captured transients and potentially UAP sightings. Whew. Okay, so that is a mouthful, but that was the first paper, and that's not even the bombshell one. So,
Right.
Any peripheral or surface level thoughts on this one, Suzanne, before we move to the bombshell?
I want this all to connect. I want both the articles to connect, hoping again that we can make some sense of this. But this gal, she is something. We're lucky to have her and her work. I'm anxious to hear what comes out of you two chatting later. But she's so bright, and her findings, and she's very calm about it. Her partner, not so much. Dennis, what's Dennis's last name?
Osberg?
Yes.
Osberg.
He
didn't care for that video he put out.
I didn't either. I'm sure everyone in our group saw it, where he was frightened, actually, and said she was frightened as well, but she seemed quite calm to me about it.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the problem. Like, look, I have hyped up stuff. Like, I hyped this week that I have a big announcement coming for Somewhere in the Sky. So I announced an announcement coming up, which is something that makes me roll my eyes in the UFO world. But I did it. Look, the guy, he was a part of one of these studies, or at least was made aware of it. It unsettled him. It excited him. And a part of me is like, I don't blame him. But another part of me is like, let's not put the cart in front of the horse. And that's where someone like Dennis is different from Beatriz.
Right.
She's someone who said, let the data speak for itself. Let the paper speak for itself. Let's get it peer reviewed. And let's see if we were right or if we were wrong. Maybe Dennis just doesn't have that much experience when it comes to how the scientific method works, when it comes to stuff like vanishing stars or this type of stuff. But he clearly was affected personally, maybe ontologically, by whatever news came from this paper. But yeah, I don't think it helped anything, but certainly now that this paper is out and people can look at it, I don't think in the long run it's going to hurt this or help it, to be honest. But
I hope not.
yeah.
It did cost me a sleepless night, though, because I view her as so calm and thought oriented instead of reactionary. And then his reaction, gosh, it got one out of me. I was like, what in the world are we dealing with? And then she had said something on social media to the effect of, I wish it weren't the case, what I found. Did you see that? You may not have seen that one. I don't think I included it for you. But,
she did say that.
And that was sort of all in the same 24-hour period. And that was the unsettling mark. So,
yeah. So we'll dive in to this next story, because I think that might have been what she was maybe talking about.
Makes more
but
sense.
I don't know.
I
will clarify a lot of this when I meet up with her next week. I I want to send my best out to her right now. She's not feeling
Not feeling
too
well.
well. She's kind of been off of social media for the last few days, and maybe it has a lot to do with she's been doing a lot. Whether it's these two papers, whether it's her work with the Baltic Sea anomaly, she's going to be traveling over here to the UK in just about a week or so. Like, she's a busy person. She's a very busy person, and like me, I'm sure that drastically affects your immune system, and you get sick. I get sick every time I, go out on these
I do too.
things I do and whatnot. But all this to say, she's a busy person. But I will be sitting down with her personally for a face-to-face interview for the Somewhere in the Skies podcast while we're in Hexham, or possibly here in Edinburgh. And we will hash it out. I want to set the record straight on these two papers. If there's been any updates, what this means for humanity, what this means for astronomy and for the scientific community, and just what this means for the possibility of aliens. And that's where I want to go next, to the second paper. So let me talk about this one. I don't have as much, but I do have an interesting tweet that you shared with me, and from our friend Tom Thompson.
Yes.
Cortex Zero, I believe, is his kind of handle or whatever on Twitter. But he had some pretty interesting stuff about this. An interesting stuff to say about this story. Ooh, the matcha's getting to me. Wow. Matcha is getting to me. But let me read about the second story, the one that's kind of the holy shit. In the second paper, Beatrix's Vasco project has proposed the presence of a structured grid of unidentified objects in near-Earth orbit, dating back to the late 1940s and 50s. So again, pre-Sputnik era. There should not be man-made satellites that could
at that time
account for some of these things. Now, again, her whole thing is vanishing stars, like stars that seem to appear, disappear, and maybe even come back. And that would basically say, this is not a dying star. This is a vanishing and reappearing star. That's not normal. That doesn't happen.
Not supposed to be. No.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, with this work, these were recorded at a time when no nation on Earth had technological capacity to place satellites. Her team reports hundreds of thousands of single non-aligned transients in the Vasco catalog. That is point-like sources that appear in one photographic plate and disappear in subsequent surveys, some of which may be artificial reflections or minor artifacts. However, the aligned groups, the multiple transient candidates with 4 or 5 point-like flashes along a narrow strip, are comparatively rare and are the focus of a more detailed investigation. Now, in the second paper, I believe they pointed out 5 of these that they have found, that these are real. They can be captured along all of the quote unquote what they call plates.
I did a little research on that. It might be a good time to just insert this quickly.
Can you please?
Yeah, basically they're photo positives or negatives, and they are of an image, and they're placed on this glass that has a coating of like a light sensitive emulsion. And that's what she's gotten hold of. And so I don't know if this is a process that's still used today or if this is just really old school capturing of this kind of data. But that's what the glass plate is.
Interesting. Okay. I was a little confused on what do the plates mean? Yeah. I still am, but thank you.
Literally glass.
Okay. So while the overall catalog holds thousands or even hundreds of thousands of single transient detections, only a small subset forms the statistically significant aligned patterns that Beatriz highlighted as candidate non-terrestrial artifacts, she calls them. Yes. So if we are to take into consideration these 5, like, for sure ones, and all these hundreds of thousands of others, pre-Sputnik era, where space debris was not really a thing at the time, this you could surmise, and this is a big long shot, kind of like Avi Loeb. Again, Beatriz taking the hits for the rest of, the UFO community and taking the hits from the scientific community. You could imagine this as like a grid around the Earth. And if these are non-terrestrial artifacts, could this mean that for a very long time, we have been monitored in a very elusive, transient way by some sort of non-human intelligence. So
I'm just going to throw this out too.
whew,
No way, if that's the situation, our government doesn't know that.
right?
No way.
Exactly. Like, and then the whole argument comes in. I think it's brought up in the paper, and Tom Thompson will bring this up in his tweet, that at the time, Menzel, who was a huge like UFO sort of debunker at the time and whatnot, he literally like destroyed evidence of like plates at the time when these things were captured. For what purpose? We don't truly know, but that's interesting.
And I want to know from Beatriz, how did she get these plates? Be sure and add that to the list. I want to know how she worked her puzzle to get these.
Who like told her where to look and how
Right.
to find?
Right. And was able
Weird.
to test them. She physically has them. So
Right.
yes, I don't know, but add all those lists of questions to her. Your
Yeah.
outline for her.
Do you mind if I read this tweet?
Go
It's a
for it.
little long, but Tom did a great job of kind of breaking down the implication of something like this. If it is to be peer reviewed and proven, it's so interesting. Let me bring this full
You did a
screen.
great job.
So Tom says, if Dr. Beatriz, if her research holds, and statistically it appears to, then we may be standing on the edge of a potentially jaw-dropping astronomical revelation. Her work with Vasco Project suggests the presence of a structured grid of UAP, basically, in near-Earth orbit, dating back to the late 1940s and 50s. They were recorded at the time when no nation on Earth had technological capacity to place satellites in orbit. Think about that. Holy shit. The implications are hard to put into words, really. If orbiting artificial objects were present decades before the launch of Sputnik, then it is not just possible, but highly probable that these anomalies were detected by terrestrial observations. Government agencies, especially in the US, were actively monitoring the skies during the early Cold War period using powerful ground-based telescopes and radar systems. It is likely they knew. And yet, where are the records? Consider the strange actions of Donald Menzel, a prominent Harvard astronomer, staunch UFO skeptic, who reportedly destroyed or restricted access to numerous astronomical plates in the 1950s. These plates may have contained the very photographic evidence that corroborates Beatriz's findings. It is difficult not to see this as a form of preemptive suppression, suggesting that sensitive data from the mid-1940s onward was quietly removed from public view because it revealed too much. If this orbital grid persisted in the satellite era, as many suspect, then it is virtually certainly that it would have been rediscovered by later generations of spacefaring technology, whether by the International Space Station, NORAD, NASA, or a number of sophisticated tracking systems. I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. But what are we looking at, and whose technology is it? Are we observing the remnants of a vast surveillance or infrastructure network maintained by a non-human intelligence operating in secrecy for generations, perhaps millennia? A quiet observer species that has built a persistent orbital presence undetected until now. We are left with questions that demand answers. These results require formal investigation, not dismissal. They demand a reassessment of what we think we know about our skies and who has been sharing them with us. It will be fascinating to see how mainstream astronomy responds. Will they meet this with open inquiry, or will they retreat behind well-worn doctrines, unwilling to disturb the myth of cosmic solitude? Because if Beatriz is right, then solitude was never ours to begin with. Wow. I love how he ended that. What? He's a good writer. I got to hire that guy.
He's a really good writer, isn't he? Yeah.
But he brings up a lot of the things we brought up, but in a more eloquent way. You know, basically, if this is real, if we come to find out that there's been some sort of transient non-human grid around our planet for this long, like that could change everything.
Absolutely everything.
how is it working in tandem now with all the stuff that is out there?
And why
Like,
can't we see it now? I saw
right.
Dalen in the chat ask, where is this grid now?
Is
And
it
it's an
gone?
excellent question. Has their technology, as our technology developed, has theirs developed staying ahead of us, or they take extra precautions? Or is it now gone? Hard to imagine once a grid is in place that it's gone, but maybe, I don't know. And here's the other thing I don't know. If this was even a possibility, why is mainstream media not picking it up?
Hmm. Again, I think it'll come down to they're always, 6 months late
Yep.
coming to the party. At the same time, like, I understand, and Beatrice is being very responsible about this.
She
It
is.
needs to be peer reviewed. Don't go running for the hills yet and packing up and looking for a cave to live in or whatever. But like, I don't know. It's fascinating to me if we could connect both of these papers. That if transient UAP, as it were showing up during nuclear testing and whatnot, and then we have the Cold War, and this quote unquote grid was monitoring the planet. Could that grid be there because they knew we were now testing nuclear technology? Did they see the atomic bomb go off and be like, bye, grid,
Right.
we're gone? Okay.
They are
nope.
who we thought they are. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fascinating to theorize for sure. And again, that's where we are right now. This is all theory until it can be proven.
I would also like for you to ask her what she thinks her timeline is on getting peer review or next steps. Could she just lay out the next steps, and as she anticipates them, and we won't hold her to them. I'm sure she's not in charge of when a peer review group does its work, but it'd be nice to know when we might hear the next piece of this puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely. But either way, it is a, if proven, groundbreaking story. And now that we have the beginnings of it, it's now about finding, the meat in the sandwich and then putting the condiments on it and serving it to us nice and hot. And I cannot wait.
I do wish national medias, the big medias, would pick it up and cover it, because what an incredible way anthropomorphically, I'm not, me got good words too today.
It's contagious.
It's contagious to get the public thinking about this, and maybe, take some of the edge off the ontological shock coming for those who don't absorb this stuff every day.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It'd be a lot to process. Like when you and I read the story, we were like, oh, hell yeah, let's do this. Like, but for like someone like, Dennis, her kind of co-investigative partner with the Baltic Sea thing and stuff, like I can understand how it could be very scary. And it is, don't get me wrong. Like if this is real, and it's not only like Big Brother spying on us here on our own planet with like, our own government surveilling every move we make, or other governments surveilling every move we make. We're now talking about a non-human intelligence that's been surveilling us for decades,
And that is
centuries.
Clearly technologically superior in such a way as to render us probably neutralized to it.
Exactly. And the fact that they can like blink in and out of existence without being detected. Oh boy. Yep. Oh gosh.
Well, here we go on this adventure as soon as she gets peer reviewed, right?
Yep. We got to get her and Avi Loeb together. How has no one thought about this yet? I think she might be on like his board or something.
I think project. You might be right. I'll check on it. Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else before we move to the last story of the night?
Ready if you are.
All right, let's do it. And guys, I do see you in the chat. Thank you so much. You guys are being so awesome. I'm highlighting a couple questions that you have here. I'll answer those at the end.
Pat says the media is muzzled by the powers that be. It's as simple as that.
Always. They always are, for sure.
And Michelle says she just doesn't think the public cares. The majority of the public, she might be right.
Look, lots going on in the world right now. Very, 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 very bad things. And it's hard. It's hard to concentrate on anything, from like the medial task to big world events, other than the horrible things going on in the world.
Right.
Wars and starvation and famine and poverty and all of that. Like, people are just trying to get by. I don't blame anyone for having zero interest in the UFO topic.
There's so much else to absorb.
Yep, exactly. I don't blame anyone. So the world is a crazy place right now. But you know what?
Stressful.
Every generation thinks that of their time in history. And trust me, the next generation will be just as crazy, if
Right.
not more. So live each day. Just try to get by, guys. And maybe we'll find some answers to this UFO phenomenon. Maybe.
I hope.
But you know who doesn't want to find answers to the UFO phenomenon?
Could it be Mr. Michael Herrera?
It could. Ding, 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 ding. What do you know about this guy? Before I'm gonna give a little brief on him.
Yeah, give a little brief.
Okay.
It clearly a whistleblower involved in a particular incident, but something is off here. And so, I'm quick to give a whistleblower or an experiencer the absolute benefit of the doubt. And I am still there for Mr. Herrera. I am still right there. But something else is going on that is concerning. Now, I say that because as someone who represented highly traumatized people for 40 years in courtrooms, it can look like this. This is what a traumatized person can do. All of a sudden, the trauma is overwhelming and they will do things or say things that they shouldn't. They can be their own worst enemy. And so, we have to take that into consideration. I do think these big events can be quite traumatizing when they happen. And especially if you're coming to it from a military setting where you're really not free to talk about it openly like you might in a better setting, right? For a long time, but probably better now. I don't know the answer to that. But so something's going on with this guy. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm glad you prefaced it that way because I don't know much about Michael Herrera's story. I know the kind of the basics of it. I'm going to be honest, brushed it to the side because the first time I ever heard about him was at an event that Stephen Greer had put on, and that can be problematic.
Right.
Yeah, that could be problematic from the get-go. So,
but I can also see, Ryan, how you would reach out if you were not well educated in this area about who is trustworthy and who may not be. You would reach out to whoever made you feel comfortable or who seemed to understand what you've been through. So we've got to give him that as well. And now there are lots of highly recognizable, trustworthy sources, maybe not when this was happening. So
that's a very, very good point. Okay, I'll give a little backstory here before we get to his video that he sent out to quote unquote proposed whistleblowers in the UFO world. Former U.S. Marine Michael Herrera claims he encountered a colossal 300-foot octagonal Vanta Black UFO hovering just above the jungle floor during a 2009 humanitarian mission in Indonesia after responding to a deadly earthquake. He describes being intercepted by an unmarked elite Black Ops unit wielding biometric scanners, not firearms, who confiscated their gear, forced them to sign NDAs under threat, and warned them not to speak about what they saw. Excuse me. Herrera alleges the event is part of a clandestine global program using so-called P3 psionic assets to bait, retrieve, and reverse engineer UAPs, all funded by black budgets and tied to covert tech warfare between nation states. So this was the huge claim he made at the Stephen Greer event. It's heavy. I mean, this ain't your daddy's little Rendlesham thing. Like, he said there was like human trafficking going on at the time with this stuff, that these black ops were like involved with it, that this UFO was like had something to do with it. It was transporting these human trafficked people, like all this really dark shit. And look, if any of it is true, no wonder this guy was traumatized
And
by
I
what he
submit,
was.
even if it wasn't true, but that's how it was perceived.
Right.
He's still traumatized, you know.
Mhm.
And sometimes that trauma can be harder to unwind because there is so much unknown, and if you've misperceived it. So
Mm.
it's dark, dark stuff. Dark. It was a dark week. Yeah,
Yeah,
with this
for
story and
sure.
some others. Yeah.
Well, okay. So, the rumor is that we will be getting a congressional UAP hearing in September, I
Right.
believe is when it's been pushed to. But that it is definitely going to happen. And Burlinson and what's her name?
Anna
Luna.
Paulina Luna. Mhm.
Yes. Have been saying, it's been a challenge to get these firsthand witnesses, but they're working on it. I hope we do see some of those if this is to come to fruition. It'll be interesting. However, Michael Herrera has some words for these people who might be coming forward. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video. And then, yeah, we'll close out on what you think about this warning, especially since you yourself are working with whistleblowers, Suzanne. So let's give this a watch and then let's unload. Sound good?
Right.
All
Ready.
right, let me find it. Here we go.
I've been trying to get in front of a U.S. congressional hearing for almost 2 years. So it's something as a firsthand witness that I feel like I'd have a good impact with that, especially with the unique position I've been afforded to as far as see things in a first-person perspective that 99% of the population probably would never get to see or participate. So having that said, I'm going to be very blunt. If we got people who are firsthand who are coming forward, I would ask you to reconsider. I'm going to ask you to reconsider based off of the notion that there have been other people who've held pretty, successful positions within certain agencies, companies that are in this issue that have given actionable intelligence that have ranged from where biologics are stored, where assets are located, where the names of these projects are occurring, and the details associated with that enough to actually gain basically a plan with knowledge and execute it. So the question I always have is, I like how they play dumb, like they don't have any information to go off of, and they want more firsthand people to go forward and to expose themselves. There are many firsthand people I know that have went forward, that have had the skiff meetings, that have provided the actionable intelligence, and they've been screwed royally. Their lives are ruined. Their income, their safety with their families. These guys make really good money. You cannot exercise your skill set elsewhere in this world like you can in some of these programs with some of the top minds and some of the top people that this country has as far as the best and brightest that this country has to offer. When they give that up, they're put in a position where they're trying to figure out how to make stuff work. All right? And they're good at improvising, adapting, overcoming, right? But the problem is you have a failed system. And the failed system is not supporting those people. I've seen this firsthand. And there's probably people who have came forward that can relate to that. We have to take action amongst ourselves for our own protection, for our own type of income, right? Which is, if you're working for yourself or your, partner, whatever it is, it's a little bit easier. But at the same time, some of these people don't have the luxury to do that. And even if you do make good money, you have some of these agencies that are weaponized, that go against people who are trying to do the right thing. And that's the biggest problem, is being punished for doing the right thing. It exposes yourself to the world of something that sounds crazy, but it's true. And then you're put in a position of trying to fend for yourself. Nobody else in the world understands what you're going through unless it's other people who are wearing the same shoes as you. But it's very rare, because even though people come forward, everybody's experiences differ, obviously. So I want people to understand that I would reconsider if you're thinking of coming forward. And the reason being is because you're going to get shortchanged immensely. you're going to be put in a position where you're going to fend for yourself, or you're going to be into a network of other people who are similar, and it's the same thing. But at the end of the day, it makes you feel like, what the hell was it for? If we're not getting our freedoms from this, and helping the world and helping the people stuck on the other side, and there's a lot of good people stuck on the other side. I want people to understand that. So if I am called onto Capitol Hill to testify in a U.S. congressional hearing, I'm going to be blunt about it. I'm going to set reality straight for them to understand what they're up against and what needs to happen. And I'm sick and tired of people, good people, coming forward, trying to set the record straight, trying to provide evidence, trying to provide details that can allow something to happen, and these lawmakers are sitting on their hands. So we're having to take care of ourselves. And the best way you're going to take care of yourself is to maybe not come forward.
Okay.
Hard.
I feel for this guy. He seems very disenchanted by his having come out with this. If it's true, I see no. I don't see a deception with this guy. Do I believe his story? Not necessarily. However, I believe something happened, or like you said, it was some sort of psyop or staged event, or maybe it was a trafficking thing going on, and they I don't know, but
maybe it was more than one thing,
yes,
happening
totally.
just coincidentally. I don't know. I do, so much of what he says, I find true. They are traumatized if they don't move carefully. Think of Kevin Day. He almost ended his own life. They ruined his life. Think of Bob Lazar. Love him, hate him, believe him, disbelieve him. He had his life ruined for a long period of time. So none of that, to me, is new. That is the known. And that is exactly why today, better than at any other time in history, it's important to reach out to the trusted sources like this group of lawyers I work with, and work with someone who knows this system on the inside. Are there pitfalls or possible pitfalls? There are. Are there ways around those pitfalls? There are. And the right people know what to do about that and how to manage that. So I will say, in his defense, he did soften later in the week with a quick video that said something along the lines is that he would testify, that he didn't use the word scared. That's my word, that he was fearful about what was going on. And he obviously is in contact with someone who has had a very bad experience. So, and I don't take that away from it. There are bad experiences to be had. And I would throw this out there too. While some of our journalists like Ross Coulthart and Corbell and George Knapp are trusted individuals who also know this legal system, this military legal system and whistleblowing system, might it not be better to get true legal advice and legal protection instead of going to a journalist? And, the journalist might steer you right, but it's not the same as having lawyered yourself up and with an extra layer of protection from a group of brains who know the pitfalls. So I think let's take his concern as warranted. We don't know all the details of what happened to him and what is true and what is not. But let's don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are safe ways to do this, and there are unsafe ways to do this.
Yeah. Well, and, the UAP Disclosure Fund did comment on this as well through the auspices of your three organizations that are working together with
Chris
these
Mellon.
whistleblowers.
Yeah,
Yep.
Chris Mellon took the lead, right?
I do have that here. Do you mind if I throw it up on the screen
good.
quick?
I'm glad you've got it.
So the UAP Disclosure Fund, through, people like Chris Mellon and whatnot, said this. On National Whistleblower Day, we're addressing a common concern. Many whistleblowers believe that sharing classified UAP info with Congress could result in criminal or civil liability. This fear is understandable, but it is not supported by the facts. Our new policy brief makes it clear. Congress is legally entitled to receive classified information in secure settings. No one appears to have been prosecuted or sued for doing so. Read our full brief co-authored by Kirk McConnell. And I did put that full brief in the show notes below, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, so you can go ahead and read that full thing. So yeah, kind of echoing what you said, Suzanne, that
Right.
there are legal, safe ways of doing this. Now, when it comes to someone like Michael Herrera, it seems to me that maybe he has not done so, that he did not seek legal advice before he went before the public at the Stephen Greer event. Or, like you had mentioned, someone like Matthew Brown, who came forward
Right.
with Immaculate Constellation with George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. That's a
Right.
problem. Whereas I do
Yeah.
believe, is that correct? I don't want to speak
Yes.
out of turn.
No, I think
Okay.
you're right. Mhm.
Okay, but then you have someone like Grush who did seek legal help.
Right.
Jake Barber too, maybe? I don't
I
know.
don't know about Jake Barber. I suspect yes, because of the way that interview was handled with Ross, but I don't know that.
Okay.
And
But yeah,
just a reminder, this legal work is free. You aren't charged by these incredible lawyers to help protect you if you're a whistleblower. So it is interesting that they don't take up that offer very often. You know, some do, but some are just know they're going to go either the journalism route or they're going to stay silent, or but those are my 10 cents on that, is that there is a safe way to do it. Take the safe way.
I would say it's worth more than 10 cents for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's worth thousands and thousands probably.
No, you're doing the Lord's work when it comes to UFO whistleblowers, that's for sure. I've seen behind the scenes of some of it, and I've seen how the legal sausage is made, and
Yeah.
it's not pretty. Like,
It's
this is
not.
going to be very difficult. Like,
it's
no
hard.
one said disclosure would be easy. No one said coming forward and whistleblowing would be easy. Look at Grush. Look at
Right.
what happened with him.
What
Like,
happened to him? Yeah.
yep.
Still happened
So,
to him. Right.
yep. It's going to be, I've said from the very sort of beginning when like all this congressional stuff started, like if this is going to work, if we're going to go this route for some sort of official disclosure of information about UFOs coming out of the government through Congress, like it is going to be messy. It's going to be weird. It's going to be at times exciting, at times super boring,
Frustrating.
frustrating.
Yeah.
But more than anything, it's going to have to do with the law.
It's
Because
exactly
at the
right.
end of the day, that's what Congress does, you know?
Right.
So I don't know.
And the lawyers in the background are out there noodling constantly on possible new ways to tackle this problem on various planes. It's just very complicated. And so if you know a whistleblower, they really need a legal opinion,
Yeah.
especially if they're
Send them your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll send them
And they
your
don't
way.
get charged.
Right. Right. Which is a big thing.
It's a big thing, but it's the one thing this group has found that it can do, right? It's the one
Yeah.
way it can help.
Right. And that's awesome. And like, you know, Herrera even said, you know, this coming forward can risk your reputation, can risk you literally your
Everything.
livelihood at times. So like knowing that there's legal help out there, pro bono, like that's awesome.
Right.
And like use it.
Use it. Use it.
Do it.
Use it. Move forward.
Let's see here. Oh, Keith is here. Hello to Keith Taylor. Welcome. Glad to have you here, my friend. He's doing some awesome work out there as well, Keith. Check him out, guys. He's in the archives of the podcast as well.
Oh, cool.
Former NYPD. And he had a lot to do with, I don't know if you remember this, but the sort of police, law enforcement, they have their own kind of like collective thing where like law enforcement throughout the country, they kind of work together like an association. Words not working tonight. But Keith worked with them to create a manual for law enforcement to deal with UAP reports that come
That's
to law
incredible.
enforcement.
That's incredible.
Love it.
Love
This
it
is
too.
what we need. This is what
Love
we
it
need.
too. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm wishing Mike Herrera the best.
Me
Maybe he
too.
will get called. And if he does, I hope he is damn blunt with them and he says, Congress, like, you know more than you're telling the public. I honestly, I believe him
I
when he
do
says
too.
that. I
I
think
do
they do
too.
know more, and I think they're, I don't know. I think why we may be reporting to Congress on these things, thinking they're going to help, there might be some of them in there that are not there to help
I
and to
think that's
keep
exactly right.
the embargo going. So I don't know. But
That's
yeah,
what I
we'll see.
think
I guess we'll see in September, right?
we will. And that I think that's what happened to the UAPDA on the first round. The
Yeah.
unhelpful people got control of it.
What's going on with Skywatcher? Before I let you go.
Skywatcher and
What's it like? What's going on? Yeah.
ProPixels, somebody's leaking their videos.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Leaking Skywatcher's videos?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. And it's
That's not
some
good.
killer video. Maybe I'll go put it on the page, the Facebook page.
Yeah.
After we get through here, and you can watch the videos that are leaked. Yeah. But that begs millions of questions. Here they are on doing private science. Who's leaking? Who's leaking? Who, I don't understand. You don't really see that in the privacy of this stuff. Skinwalker Ranch isn't leaking, So what's happening? I think we keep a watch on that one.
We'll keep a watch on Skywatchers. That's for sure. Yeah. I had to. Well, hey, thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Suzanne. I said this would be a short one. SummerSlam, WWE SummerSlam has started 7 minutes ago. I don't care. This was a lot of fun. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow anyways. It's already 11 p.m. here in the UK. I hate that I have to watch these things so late. But I will let you go back into the chat as I close things out here and tease my somewhere in the skies little thing here. But anything else before I let you go?
I think that's good.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you, as always, for your insights, your input, and you are invaluable to the show. And guys, Suzanne will be joining me to interview Travis Walton tomorrow. We'll be recording that interview.
Yeah. So excited.
So I told people you're slowly becoming the honorary co-host of Somewhere in the Skies. I'm pulling you in.
Chance meeting in the lobby of a hotel in Edinburgh.
Who would have thought? With home-baked alien cookies that you made for me.
Exactly.
Sweet.
Go figure. All right. Well, have a great night. I'm back to
you.
Chat.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. You guys are getting lively in the chat. Behave. We're all in this to find answers together. I saw a little bit of some back and forth here, but we're all passionate. I love you guys. I love you. Let's see here. We had some start stuff here that I'm gonna try to get to. Oh, thank you so much, Joseph, for the super sticker. Appreciate that, my friend. Where did I have it? Oh, we had a couple questions here that I want to just get to before we get out of here. This was for Suzanne as well. Might bring you back in just a second, Suzanne, if that's okay. Disclosure Ladies asks, Ryan and Suzanne, have we talked about what Jeremy Corbell mentioned in his doc, that we will be told an alien invasion or alien something is heading to Earth and it'll be a hoax? Yeah, that was that whole 2026. Is that right? Oh gosh, I don't remember. We talked about it briefly back when Corbell made that claim in that TMZ thing or whatever, but I personally have nothing to add to it. I don't know. Suzanne, did you want to come in for this? Do you have anything to add or? Yeah? Okay.
So this is part of that dark thread that I was chatting with you earlier in the week. Several of these people went to the really dark agenda this week, and I found it concerning. And it started with Avi Loeb's thing that we talked about, where he was prepping this conversation he ultimately had about this new object, and that how intentional he thought that object might be. And then people started correlating this prognostication from some point in history where 2026 or 2027 was when aliens were going to conclude that we could not manage our own planet and they were going to come in and take care of the problem. And so I think all of this is wrapped in that. I have very mixed opinions on or thoughts on going to the dark stuff. I'm not sure how that helps us. Even if true, I would come at it from an Avi Loeb perspective, which is make a plan, think about it. How does it work? So I think that's what you're watching here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I would have to agree with you on all of that. It's better to be prepared, as my Boy Scout troop leader taught me when I was a kid, for sure. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that. I think we had one other question here. Robert, so Ryan, why are humans so far advanced than any other species on the planet? Have they always been here and created us? Why are humans so far advanced than any other species? Have they always been here and created us? Interesting, Robert. That's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, you could look at it biologically. I mean, we have thumbs, unlike a lot of things on the planet. We have a nervous system. We have usually critically thinking brains. Maybe sometimes, not always, that's for damn sure. But yeah, I think we have become, the one of the smartest things on our planet in some ways. You look at things like octopi and dolphins and stuff like that, and how they communicate and what they are capable of doing, and it's incredible. So look, we may think we're the smartest, but when push comes to shove, we'll see.
For being the smartest, we sure do a lot of dumb things, don't we?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No one ever said, brains equal, utopia by any stretch. So I don't know. Have they always been here and created us? That's an interesting add-on to the question. I don't know if he means like a non-human intelligence or something like that, but it's possible. It's possible that we were either seated here or we are like a pet project,
Those are the theories, right?
Yeah. So interesting question, Robert. Thank you for that. Thank you.
And a big thank you to Daniel Keels for a super sticker.
Oh, Daniel, thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah.
We truly do appreciate you being here tonight and all of your lively comments. I was watching, but again, I love anyone who's willing to.
We have to have all sorts of thought.
Absolutely, man. So Daniel, thank you so much for helping support Anomicon as well, my friend. Cool. All right, Suzanne, I'll put you back in there and we'll close this thing out, guys. I promise this is going way too long. Thank you, Suzanne. Okay. So coming to you guys in just a few hours here, we have a new episode of the podcast coming to you. I dug into the archives to find this compelling and very interesting interview with the one and only Micah Hanks, and we talk about Project Pentacle. Yes, that's right. You thought Project Blue Book was it? Grudge sign? Project Pentacle, a top secret program running parallel to Project Blue Book. That's right. This thing was going on during Blue Book, possibly before, possibly after, and it has everything to do with these two strapping gentlemen on your screen right now, Jacques Vallée and J. Allen Hynek. What happened when the very messy and disorganized J. Allen Hynek put Jacques Vallée in charge of putting all of his Project Blue Book files in order and condensing them? Vallée found a very interesting and intriguing memo from someone known only as Pentacle, and that opened the door to a very interesting discussion and investigation by Hynek and Vallée into a project that had to do with UFOs that may have been running parallel to Project Blue Book the whole time. You can hear all about it in this episode dropping in just a couple hours on the main feed of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, featuring the one and only Micah Hanks. And break for water. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. And the last thing that I want to share with you guys is I have been doing the Somewhere in the Skies podcast for a little, approximately 9 years now, if you can believe it. Over 400 main episodes, hundreds of bonus episodes, dozens and dozens of live streams here on YouTube and beyond. And for almost that collective 9 years, I have been with the same podcast network the whole time. it changed hands a few times. Like companies bought out the other companies. Originally, it was something called Antica in Toronto, which eventually became E1, which is a big company in Toronto as well. E1 was then bought by Hasbro, the toy company. So for a short time, Somewhere in the Skies was a toy company owned podcast, which is hilarious. And then Hasbro got bought out by Lionsgate Studios, the movie studio. So for the past couple years now, we have been a Lionsgate podcast. However, everything changes, and I have decided to move on from this collective entity. They have been incredible for the past almost 9 years with helping me with everything. And it has been such an honor to work with them in many different ways. To the individuals who I worked with directly, I want to send my thanks to them for the time that I spent with them, and it was just awesome. It was awesome to work with such passionate people when it comes to podcasting. But it's time for me to move on and to try to take the show in a different place and grow in different ways. And that will come with a big announcement that will be made on August 13th. Um, I know this is an announcement tease of an announcement, but I did want to kind of prep you guys because my next podcast episode will be on the new network. So I will be starting fresh, basically. Nothing will change episode number wise or the archive won't go anywhere. Everything will be there and be available. But we will be with new people, and I'm unbelievably excited for those new people I'm going to be working with, other shows that I will be in conjunction with, and it's only up from here when it comes to Somewhere in the Skies, guys. Somewhere in the Skies, guys. Um, hmm, Idea for a spinoff. Anyways, yeah, August 13th. Pay attention to my social media. We'll be making that big announcement of where Somewhere in the Skies is going from here, and it is only further up somewhere in the skies. And I'm so freaking excited. So again, my special thanks to Lionsgate /E1 /Antica /Hasbro for 9 years of incredible connection and working together. But onward, upward, new relationships to be forged, and I cannot wait. And I thank you guys immensely for being with me every step of the way. It's only going to get bigger and better from here. And that is solely because of you. So thank you. That means the absolute world to me. That being said, please take just a few moments to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on Spotify and Apple, the two largest platforms out there. That helps immensely. Gets us featured on those things. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like the video, share the video, do all of that. This is your last chance to get in any super chats, super stickers, PayPal, buy me coffee if you want to help the show monetarily. That is greatly appreciated. We far surpassed our goal for tonight, so I want to thank all of you immensely for your very generous donations. If you can't help monetarily, like I said, just like, subscribe, share, do all that YouTube and podcasty stuff. Oh, I did a poll, right? I saw it. We miss it every week. It's part of the show. What was the poll? Oh, okay, here we go. I'm refreshing it. Ooh, okay, good question that Suzanne and I came up with that I forgot about. The poll for this week on YouTube, guys, I asked, was Beatriz Villarroel's discovery an alien grid monitoring us? Out of 91 votes, 23% of you said yes, 12% of you said no, 47% of you said too early to tell, 18% of you said, is what a what? So there you go, guys. Too early to tell. Basically, need more info. I'm with you on that. Beatrice agrees. That's what's going to happen right now. Peer review is what it's all about. And I will be interviewing Beatrice in person sometime next week. So if you have any questions for her having to do with any of this or her past work, please shoot me an email. Email is in the show notes, or shoot me a DM on social media. If you want me to really get to that question, the best way is to join our Patreon, where you get priority. You get put right at the front of the line to ask questions of our guests. Patreon.com/SomewhereSkies to do that. So yeah, so excited. We'll be talking to Beatriz in person next week in Hexham, UK. Thank you so much, Maureen, for the $20 super chat. Truly appreciate that. And I love your little Bigfoot avatar there. That's so cute. I love it. Peer review, baby. Let's go. Agreed. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, such nice accolades you guys give to us. We will play those as the show closes here. So again, I want to thank you. Like, subscribe, all that. New episode dropping just a couple hours. I believe I'll be in England next week for the event, so I don't know if we'll be doing a live stream. Might be fun to do a live stream while I'm there. If that's the case, maybe even the Beatriz interview. We shall see. You can stay up to date if we'll be doing the live stream on my social media as well. So I'll let you guys know as soon as I know. But yeah, I've got a busy week coming up getting ready for the event. I've got SummerSlam happening right now, so I got to go watch some wrestling podcast. Got to review that tomorrow, record that tomorrow, and also record the Travis Walton interview. Oh, if you have any questions for Travis Walton, shoot me an email as well. I took a bunch, but still room for more. So send them my way. Email ryan.sprague51@gmail.com. Should be in the show notes as well if it's not. And yeah, ask your questions of Beatriz. Travis, send them my way ASAP. That's going to do it. I have talked way, way too long. Good Lord. I don't know how you guys deal with me. But let me get this pulled up here. Cool. Just wanted to make sure I had our outro. That's it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys. Can't wait for you to hear the big news on August 13th. And keep looking up, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.